Welcome to our next Proudly Sage webinar. This one focuses on service learning. So we have some wonderful special guests today. I'm Jen Gish. I'm the Vice President for Marketing and Communications at Russell Sage, and I'm glad to be here with you today and introduce our Associate Professor, Allie Chafing, who is also our Director of Service Learning and Community Engagement. So I'm not going to delay anymore. I'm going to kick it right off to Allie and let her introduce her students and begin today's presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A or chat. We can either pause along the way or save them all till the end, but we'll be sure to answer those questions. Thank you. Go ahead, Allie.
Thank you so much, Jen. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Allie Chafing. I'm thrilled to join you today to talk about service learning, the program. I'll speak at the beginning for 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll hand it over to our three students who are here today. So I want to briefly invite each of them to introduce themselves, just so they can be with us right from the beginning here. So in the order that we will hear from them later, let's first hear from Molly. If you'd just like to tell us a little bit about yourself, your major, and your status at the college.
Hi, my name is Molly Graff, and I'm an incoming transfer student about to begin my junior year at Russell Sage in the fall. I'm an education major, and I'm involved with the honors program.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Molly. You might even hear children in the background. Molly is involved in all kinds of cool things, including this summer camp experience that you'll hear a little bit about later. Next, you'll be hearing from Nora Ahmed. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nora Ahmed. I am a recent graduate. I pursued my bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm the class of 2023, and I just finished my master's degree in mental health counseling and community psychology. And I'm still involved in various ways, but predominantly with the refugee and immigrant communities.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Last but not least, Anthony.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Bisner. Just graduated with my bachelor's degree this past spring. I have a degree in business administration with a concentration in sport management. I am involved with kind of still connecting with all of my professors and just all the departments. I love to speak for the college and work with the college. I'm blessed enough to have another opportunity today, so looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. So as you can see, the students who are here with us today represent different programs, different statuses at the college. So pretty neat. We'll get to hear from someone who's just incoming and already jumped right into our service learning program, a recent undergrad graduate and a recent graduate school graduate. So thank you so much to the three of you. I'm going to share my screen and go through our opening materials. And I will be efficient with my remarks, which is not something I'm known for, but we all want to get to the students. So I hereby commit to being brief. So we're very proud to be here. We love our service learning program. And I first want to give you a little bit of history about it. So I went back in former impact reports. The very first impact report we did in 2017, 2018, the first year I was hired in this inaugural Director of Service Learning role. Professor Emily Abuya was one of the first colleagues who jumped right in with us to launch some new service learning projects. But the impact report from that year was 3 pages, and we were really proud of it. And our impact report from this past year was 32 pages. So we've continued to grow, and we're still really excited about what's ahead. So a quick shout out to Patty Sparrow, who I think is here with us on the call. Most of us know Patty Sparrow. She's an incredible supporter of Russell Sage College, an alum. Among many other things, Patty has supported the service learning program. So she is the reason that this official office came into being in 2017. Of course, the college has a long history of service as part of our mission and vision and values. So there's quite a legacy reaching way back to our founders, and we continue to uphold that and now operationalize it and structure it through this very dynamic type of pedagogy. So Emily has been doing all kinds of service learning, for example, in her She had an EPA grant, Environmental Protection Agency, working on water filtration system that she and students then brought to Kenya for a faculty-led abroad experience. They worked with the Rensselaer Land Trust on a Hudson River water quality study. So she had statistics students actually working with real data and applying their disciplinary knowledge in very impactful ways with this community partner. I often say you name a discipline, there's a way to build in a service learning component. And Emily's a great example of someone who has done that in various STEM fields and recently also in education. This incredible woman, Emily, who is just barely featured back here in the right, hugging Patty Sparrow. So I just had to bring this full circle because here we are almost 10 years later. Emily just earned a second doctorate degree in education because she's actually launching kind of this wave of her academic career into understanding how impactful engaged learning is for marginalized students. So she's developing a whole portfolio at Sage with 2 doctorates now, and service learning has been woven throughout. And Patty, who, as I said, was initially one of our first and most critical funders and supporters, has continued to support the program and, of course, is close with Emily and many other faculty. So I represent a variety of people who are not here today, and I'm here just to share and applaud their great work. And I also had the distinct honor of assisting in Patty Sparrow's honorary doctorate hooding. So that was quite a moment for me 10 years after beginning this work. So what is service learning? That's what I hope to hit first in these next slides. What is it? How do we do it? And what are the student outcomes? We do it in both general education and in specific programs, so I'll quickly mention those. Then I will hand it over to our students and have time for more conversation and questions after that. Okay, so what is service learning? Primarily, it is structured partnerships between the college and the community. It has to be mutually beneficial or mutually meaningful. So for both student learning and for community impact, it's a real win-win. It's embedded in a course, so it advances disciplinary learning, and it directly supports a community need. Importantly, service learning always involves preparation and reflection. So this is what helps distinguish service learning from volunteering, and volunteering is great, but this is volunteering that's really thoughtfully planned within the structure of a course with learning objectives. So students will have the hands-on direct service experience, but that will be paired with complementary resources and understanding of social issues and bigger picture policy related to what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a really dynamic form of learning that can happen outside the classroom, but really allow the classroom to come to life. There's all kinds of meaningful benefits to service learning. I threw some pictures in throughout just for fun. So here's also from that first impact report, some nutrition students who are doing a healthy food demo at a nearby after-school program. Okay, so there are 5 or 6 kind of domains of outcomes that we look at in the ways students benefit from their service learning experience. So one is knowledge application, taking what they learn in the classroom and applying it in real ways. Another is personal and professional skills development. So students are able to grow across many documented skill sets, both personal kind of soft skills, communication, but also relevant to their particular discipline and career trajectory. Of course, it promotes civic engagement and a sense of social responsibility. There are studies showing that empathy and understanding and connection with people from different backgrounds is a very meaningful outcome of service learning experiences. Self-awareness, self-efficacy, and career discernment. That's a term I learned in recent years, and that's been something we've been measuring recently. And I think the students you hear from today will help illustrate how these experiences help students make sense of what they want in their careers that are unfolding ahead of us. So we've been measuring our outcomes, based on the service learning literature, what we know is happening in the world of service learning and why it matters. But we also situate that within these 8 NACE competencies. So we work closely with the Career Center And we follow these nationally recognized guidelines provided by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE. So these 8 competencies are what we know employers are looking for in college graduates. So we make sure that what we're developing in our service learning program and assessing for student outcomes align with these competencies so we can ensure that everything we're doing helps students achieve their goals beyond the college. So here's a sample of some of those outcomes that we measure at the end of courses. So students on rated from 1 through 5. My RC 301, which is a gen ed service learning class that all students take, allowed me to make a real difference in the community. So on a scale of 1 from not very confident to 5 very confident, 97% of students selected towards the confident half of this bar graph. Similarly, 94% of students are on the winning half of this, that they feel their service learning experience allowed them to gain valuable experience relevant to their career. The service learning component of this course helped me to understand more about myself and my abilities. So that's that understanding of self and self-efficacy. So in total, we've got, let's do some quick math here, 96.9% of students chose strongly agree or agree. And the service learning helped me to apply course concepts in real world situations. We're looking at 96.8% agree or strongly agree. So we continue to tweak our programs and even our assessment measures to make sure we're continually improving the way that we operationalize service learning throughout our courses. So a few examples. I mentioned we do service learning in both the general education program, which are courses that all students select from, regardless of their major. We also do it in specific disciplines. So I'm going to highlight just one kind of set of programs to illustrate that before we hand it off to our students. So RSC 301 is the capstone general education course that all of our students take. And it's a project-based service learning social action course where every single student is involved in a meaningful activity outside of the classroom. So one example of this kind of interdisciplinary project-based learning is over here on the left side of the screen, the I Belong in Albany coloring book. I don't think I will ever stop talking about this coloring book that our colleague Amy Pass did with her RC 301 class. So students across programs had ways to contribute to this collective project. So it was an A through Z coloring book that was designed in partnership with some local refugee and immigrant support organizations to help welcome immigrant children to the Albany community. And so we had graphic design students working on the layouts. We had a photography, the club student out taking photos for the graphic design student. We had business students coming up with the marketing and funding plan. And it was really neat to see them interact across disciplines, which we know is a competency and an important skill, and really bringing this project to life. This has been so successful here in the Capital Region. They have just ordered another round of printing. I think we are in the thousands now of coloring books that have been handed out. And Guilford College in North Carolina, which has founded this movement you see on the right here, the Every Campus a Refuge movement, which calls on colleges around the country to mobilize and support refugee and immigrant newcomers. They have called on colleges around the country to make a version of this coloring book, and they have made one as well. So our students have created this meaningful project that continues to live on in our community and across the country. I want to click through. Oh, and I'll say a little bit more. Every Campus a Refuge is a project an initiative I'm personally really involved in as well through my academic scholarship. I'm a geographer by training and I research refugee resettlement. So we are part of that network and we have hosted 7 refugee families on campus in partnership with local resettlement agency, USCRI. So these are 2 examples of interdisciplinary service learning opportunities where students across programs can get involved in meaningful ways. So when we host newcomer refugee families, of course, we can have nursing students helping the family navigate their medical paperwork and understanding how to navigate our complicated healthcare system. We have education students working with the children in the family. Nora and Molly will both talk a little bit about, as education and psychology students, how they've been involved with refugee families. So again, You name a major, we can develop a meaningful way for service learning to take place in those courses. So a few samples from the coloring book. Bus, I was visiting the class the day that they were talking about early alphabet. So at first they had C as for car. And I heard, I think a sociology student say, yeah, but can a refugee family afford a car when they first arrive? And then we had someone talking about, the cost of living, and someone from the business school chimes in. So I could see in real time how this, real life example has to kind of unfold, and students are developing their critical thinking skills and whatnot. And as a group, they decided, okay, let's not do car, but let's do the bus, the CDTA bus, which is a very prevalent form of transportation for refugee families in their first months and years here. And Nipper the dog is a popular example, of course, so that cultivating the sense of belonging and local place-based connections. Stewart's, in a most recent round of coloring books, we also got Stewart's ice cream coupons and milk cards to go with the coloring books. And then, of course, R is for Russell Sage, of course. So here's a sample of other community partners we have worked with in recent years. Through the RSC 301 program, this past semester, we worked with 42 different community partners and had 146 students. And this is just a sample of some of the partners that we worked with. Did I do it? Sort of. It's been 15 minutes, I think. I am thrilled to hand it off to our first student speaker, Molly.
Hi, everybody. Just as a reminder, I know I introduced myself at the beginning, but my name is Molly Graff. I'm an incoming transfer student about to begin at Russell Sage this fall. I'm studying childhood education, and I'm also doing this through the honors program. So service learning has been the heart and soul of my college experience so far, and it is something that I'm so excited to explore more at Russell Sage. So the motto of Russell Sage, be, know, do. I mean, that's 3 verbs that get me excited to get involved and really help shape the way that I look at service learning as kind of 3 separate things, kind of what Professor Chafing was talking about with who you are and what you bring to the table. So the first word, be, to me means who are you? Like, what are you bringing when you go to help others? I have 3 photos on my slide, and they all have something that match on them. They all have apples. And you may think that I like apples because I want to be a teacher, and that is true. But I also think about apples in the context of, food insecurity. I know like the students, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but at the summer camp that I'm at, they get really excited when there's apples in their free summer meal. So I look at apples as kind of planting seeds for students' lives. So B, who am I? My name is Molly. I am a new incoming student, and Russell Sage is not new to me. When I was in this first photo of me eating an apple, I was going to Russell Sage camp for theater. That's where I learned to be creative and think outside of the box, and that is what I bring to service learning. So when I think of who I am, I think of being curious and asking questions. And that kind of has led me to be interested in food insecurity and education just by seeing what's around me. The no part is what attracted me to Russell Sage in the first place. The education program here is incredible. Many times when I was doing fieldwork experiences in local school districts, I met Sage students, and it is really clear that Sage is rooted within this community in the Capital Region. A big push right now in the education department is positive education. How to be a positive educator. How to take care of your own well-being while also taking care of the well-being of your students. And I see that as also like, how can you be a positive person? How can you make an impact in others' lives? So it's clear to me that Russell Sage has that education that I'm looking for, so that not only do I know who I am, but I know who I'm serving. And then, of course, the most important part, do, taking action and doing something about the issues that you're seeing within your community. This third photo was taken last summer when I volunteered with the Captain Community Human Services, which is an organization that partners with United Way to give free summer meals to children in the Capital Region. I was able to do this through AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is a national service organization. And over the last 2 years, I've been able to do 1,200 hours of service through AmeriCorps. It has been incredible for me to be able to see students from such a wide variety of backgrounds. The summer camp that I'm serving at right now serves students of low socioeconomic status, and we work on social emotional learning. So this morning I had parachute games that we were doing. I help with the recreation side of things. And so we were working as a team, and how do you be a good friend, and what happens when someone's not kind to you? So these are the kind of service things that make me excited and passionate and really ready to apply what I'm learning in the classroom beyond the classroom. Something that was exciting for me, I was transferring in. I wasn't really sure what my journey was going to look like at a new school. Professor Chafing reached out to me the day after my graduation and said, hey, we have this opportunity to work the Every Campus a Refuge program with the Albany International Academy. So working with immigrant and refugee students. And I was so excited because that wasn't a population that I had worked with before. And it was really exciting to be able to work with students who came from different language backgrounds. It was a poetry workshop in 3 different sessions, and the students got to write about what they loved about their parents, and then the parents in a separate room were writing about what they loved about their children. So it was such a heartwarming experience to get to see, different communities come together, all through education, of course. On my next slide, I have 2 photos that kind of show the honors side of things. The first photo was at the Niche Symposium hosted by Russell Sage in the spring. And what that is it's basically a council of the Capital Region colleges that come together, they bring their honor students, and we present our service projects as well as our research. So my service project was titled Helping Hands Hinder Hunger. I was able to collect over 5,000 hygiene and food items for students at my campus. So this connected on-campus departments. They did something called Adopt a Shelf, where they collected items each week and donated them to our over 50 students who were utilizing our food pantry. It was really cool to go to this niche symposium because I got to meet students from other local schools. I got to meet faculty from Russell Sage and, connect with the person who runs the food pantry at Russell Sage. So getting to kind of build more of those connections. And then the photo on the right, same project that I was presenting, but that was for the Northeast Regional Honors Council. That was in New Haven, Connecticut this year. And basically what that is they bring together students that are doing service learning, and they connect them over their projects, and they share them with the greater community. And Russell Sage was actually the partner for my former college. So that was great to be able to meet even more students and faculty. I mentioned planting seeds and how important that is for students. While I've been able to plant some seeds in Troy, Albany, and the Capital Region, I never guessed that I was going to be planting seeds all the way in Nashville, Tennessee. Last spring, I was able to start the Teach for America Ignite Fellowship, which is a fellowship where you tutor students online in Title I schools. So these are students that are coming from disadvantaged backgrounds and typically do not have the same resources that other students would have at home. So I had a small group of students, and it was great. I got to do some English work with them, and that has truly been one of the most pivotal moments for wanting to become a teacher, but also really, really loving serving others and service learning, because I was able to come up with lessons and use those actual career skills, but also I was able to adapt and, cater it to what the students were engaged with. And that was so exciting. I am beyond excited to join the Russell Sage community. I cannot wait to learn more about all of the programs that we have. I feel like I learn about a new one each time that I meet with Professor Chafing. And I'm excited to bring my energy to Sage as well.
Molly, you already are bringing your energy to Russell Sage, and we are so grateful for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. It's funny, we're about to hear from Nora Ahmed, and I often mention that Nora and I met her first semester of her first year at Russell Sage as an undergraduate. So that was 7 years ago. So that was when I was new in this position, relatively new as well. And I presented to all the incoming students, and she was the very first one to make an appointment with me to get involved in service learning. So she set the bar high, and I often reference that, and I will still reference that. You are always a superstar. But Molly and I connected before she even got to campus. So it's as though you're passing the baton on to the next generation of incoming students, and they are eager to get involved. So I'm super inspired by all of you. I've been tearing up a little bit, and we will click on and hear from Nora.
I do feel like that's really hard to follow, not only Allie's introduction, but Molly's enthusiasm. So I'm going to give it my best shot here. Again, my name is Nora. I graduated in 2023 with my bachelor's in psychology, and just in this past spring with my master's in mental health counseling and community psychology. I know, a mouthful. When we talk about the motto, be, no, do, I knew who I wanted to be, which when I entered Sage, it was somebody who was driven to support the community, support marginalized populations, to make a difference. But when I was first at Sage, I had absolutely no idea how to do that. I was an undecided major. I was very lost. I was very confused as to what the next steps were going to hold. And then Allie Chafin came into my RSC, or at the time World 101 class, and discussed community work study, and the idea of serving the community. And so we had a conversation, and she said, well, what about supporting refugee and immigrant populations? And it's not something I have personally a connection. I'm a child of an immigrant, but it's not something that I necessarily thought I had the opportunity of doing. So when I started, there's many kind of components, just because I've been doing this for 6 to 7 years of my life. But ultimately, as I said, I became a psychology major, and I wanted to use that knowledge in terms of understanding behavior and mental processes in supporting a population that might not have the same resources available to them. And there's a lot of misconceptions around mental health in a lot of marginalized populations, specifically when we're talking about overseas contexts. So I knew that I wanted to utilize my knowledge in supporting this community. So when I first started with service learning, I was working with adult refugees, young adult refugees, and they were desiring to pursue higher education. And they might not have had the necessary language skills that they needed in order to become as successful as they could be when entering higher ed. So I would meet with them weekly. This was during the COVID days. Sorry, I know, a very triggering word for people, but the COVID days, and we'd meet weekly. I met with several students, and we practiced English conversation and reading and writing, and ultimately improving their English competency and acquiring the language, but also their confidence, because that's really was a huge part of this process. So I also supported obtaining information about local colleges so that young refugees could understand what resources were available to them in the community through organizations like Refugee Welcome Center. I then transitioned into serving as a volunteer at the Intercultural Cafe on the Troy campus, where this great community engagement opportunity, where there was a space where newcomers could come and they could practice their English conversation skills with native speakers like myself, college students. And it was really fun. We went over the alphabet, we went over what was going on in their day, we had tea, we had snacks. It was lovely. And so when I transitioned into my senior year of undergrad, I went to Allie and I said, Allie, this is a beautiful thing. Can we do it in Albany? And she, of course, championed it and said yes. So as part of my undergraduate internship, I had two parts. The first was founding and supervising the Intercultural Cafe, which is, don't mind my dog in the background, a warm, inclusive environment supporting refugees and immigrants in practicing English as a new language, specifically conversationally. I have been overseeing that for almost 4 years. I still do. It's my baby. It is my pride and joy. And I probably have supervised anywhere from 40 to 50 undergraduate students. I have also overseen community volunteers as well. And I'm trying to think, probably we have newcomers who have come and shared their stories with us, probably from 40 to 50 plus countries. So it is a beautiful testament of diversity in our community. I'm very proud of it. It's probably one of my most proudest accomplishments in my life. And as the second part of my undergraduate internship, I was an intern with the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, as Ali mentioned earlier. I served with the Women and Children Populator Program, as well as Preferred Communities, which was serving newcomers with high medical needs. I did a lot of insurance phone calls and dental appointments and medical appointments, but it taught me a lot. And I feel really grateful not only for the opportunities, but for the people I met, and ultimately, again, for seeing that how much you can learn from newcomers. It's not necessarily like they have so much to offer, is essentially what I'm saying. I also was a small part of ECAR. ECAR was we were the first New York State chapter of ECAR, and I specifically worked with the first family who's resettled here, Fahim and Adiba, who I miss dearly. They moved to Virginia, but I was specifically close with Adiba, the wife, and we would practice her English conversation skills. But I'm a true believer in teaching about, at the cafe at least, language and culture. So I would take her to different things. I took her apple picking. She had no idea what that concept was like. So I was like, let's go to an apple orchard and let's have fun together. But like, let's talk about life too. So we had a really great time. They're doing quite well. And we also were a part of, I say we because I'm also referring to Ali, was the Good Neighbor team. And the Good Neighbor team was a group of students and faculty who were paired with a recently arrived refugee family right after the fall of Kabul. And we were paired with the KZs. So that's that middle picture there. That's some of us Good Neighbor team members with the KZs after a first year, like end of the school year celebration. And we helped them navigate the complex systems and structures that exist in our country. We're talking about medical, we're talking about education. I was the dental queen, so I spent a year of my life bringing all 8 members to dental appointments. That was my thing. That was the hill I was going to die on with them. But I really am glad to say that now that I visited them last week and they are absolutely thriving. They're thinking about buying a house. The son has now launched a business and the kids are doing very well in school. They're learning English, they're integrating. They're a true testament of how important it is to welcome newcomers and to provide them with the supports that are necessary in order to them not just to survive but to thrive in their new city, their new country. And now I no longer do too much client-facing work, but this helped me transition to RISE, Refugee and Immigrant Support Services of Emmaus. I am the volunteer coordinator there, and I have felt very honored and privileged in connecting people who are compassionate and passionate about serving newcomers. RISE offers English language classes, immigration case management support, as well as employment opportunities and an after-school program. So I oversee about 130 active volunteers right now. But all of this has happened because I sent an email and Ali said, hey, let's make this happen. So just like I said, the middle picture was the Good Neighbor team. The photo on the left was I had the opportunity with Ali to speak at the ECAR National Conference, I believe in 2024, about student engagement and refugee resettlement. And SAGE has afforded me the opportunity to go to the ECAR conference in North Carolina as well as in Pennsylvania. And then the photo to the right is at the Intercultural Cafe. We have whiteboards, you see the tea, we have the snacks, and students and newcomers can collaborate and come together. And it's just such a beautiful sense of community. And it's something that I really love. And I hope that students and newcomers have found very beneficial. So that was my story.
Yes. Thank you, Nora. Wonderful. Yes, students and guests find the cafe very meaningful, my friend. As you say, you have supervised over 40 undergrad students and community members from probably 40 countries and counting. So really incredible. That's every Thursday afternoon on the Albany campus. Reach out to get involved. And I want to note there that how cool, and we'll hear a little bit of this from Anthony as well, that you have done a lot of service learning as a student, and now you've also served as a community partner and a supervisor. So, and Molly, I have no doubt as you progress through your programs that you will also advance into some leadership roles as part of the program. We are so proud of you. Thank you. We will have time for questions and conversations. So for Molly, for Nora, for Anthony, and in general, but we will first hear from our third student, Anthony.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a little bit since I introduced myself. If you guys forgot, name's Anthony Bisner. Just recently graduated from Russell Sage. Very hard to follow up everything. I know I can't see everyone or hear everyone, but just round of applause for the three amazing women who just presented. They absolutely killed it. Love to hear from both of you guys. All three of you guys, you all killed it. So I'll do my best. Probably won't be as good, but as I always say, I just have fun with everything I do. So as we all know, it's been touched on throughout the presentation, the be no do. When I came in, my first semester, I'm a local kid, grew up in Waterville, New York, about 10, 15 minutes from Albany. I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to be that, fun, goofy kid who was always hardworking, never backed down from a challenge, and just wanted to be seen. That is why I chose Russell Sage. I wanted to build that one-on-one connection with everyone I met. I wanted them to walk away knowing truly who is Anthony Bisner, and they could walk away saying, that's him right there. So the photo on the left kind of shows me being myself. That is at my current job of employment right now with the Albany Firebirds, holding the championship trophy from last year. The no part, like I just said, I wanted to truly shape my true identity at the school. So knowing what I wanted to do, I knew since I was 6 years old, my whole life I wanted to work in sports. If you take sports away from me, I honestly, there's some things I could probably say about myself, but sports, it's what I eat, sleep, and breathe. It's what I love to do. Right now I'm blessed enough to say I don't work, I just have fun. I throw big parties for people, and that's what I love to do. So that's me right there. Knowing that School of Management, once I took that tour when I was a senior of high school, right there, the School of Management, they truly could help me shape who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So huge mentors. And then the doing aspect, the photo on the right, that photo was just taken this past week when I was able to work with Major League Baseball for All-Star Week out in Philadelphia. Doing the aspect is just knowing what you knowing what you want to do, but at the end of the day, you won't always want to make a positive experience on the children or whoever you are speaking with. So if that is volunteering, if that is working, even if it's just a quick conversation, that is what you want to do. So in RSC 301, I had Professor Morell, and I was able to luckily volunteer with the Cohoes Spindles. It was actually founded by a former graduate of Russell Sage, Jordan Prouty. And with that, we were able to create a positive, inclusive environment for children who did not have access to soccer. So what we did was we created this inclusive environment to teach them not only the athletic and fundamental skills of the sport, we also taught them lifelong lessons that they could take away. So when you're working with children from the age of 4 to 8, you're going to have some people, you're going to have some kids who latch on immediately. You're going to have the other ones who they're going to look at you, they're going to turn around, and they're going to run to mom, dad, or their guardian right there on the sideline. Um, but at the end of the day, we taught them no matter if this was communication, if that was communication with us or the parents, if this was, collaboration and teamwork with us or maybe a friend of theirs that they brought, they learn these skills at such a young age. So now when they go into their teen years, they have these skills and they can build on them.
Beautiful.
And now
Beautiful.
I know everyone wanted me to kind of speak a little bit, so I put my experience on the next slide. I know Professor Chafin kind of wanted to dive in a little bit there. So throughout my time at Russell Sage College, I was able to get a lot of professional experience and now post-graduation to continue that growth. So there was never a semester that went by that I wasn't tied down with my hand in something. I'm someone, I don't like to sit still. I really like to keep going. The name of the game for me is give me a cup of coffee, maybe some carbs, and I'm good for 48 hours. I just love what I do every day. So as you see here, I started at Aframs. If you are unfamiliar, it is a sports complex in the Capital Region. They serve for all youth soccer programs in the Capital Region and also host a men's and women's league. They are actually one of the only places who host a men and women's adult soccer league, which is absolutely phenomenal. They also host lacrosse, softball, baseball, and football as well. So I was able to intern there and then also work there full time throughout all 3 years at the college. Then last year, I had Professor Brownell. She was also my advisor before she retired. Was really pushing me hard to get a really good internship. I actually wound up right here local with the Albany Firebirds, a arena football team. There, I got lots of experience in just customer service, fan experience, ticket sales, public relations, kind of everywhere. And that actually, I'll skip ahead. That actually led me, after the season last year, being a full intern, I landed a full-time position with them. Still, going into my senior year at the college, I was already hired full-time in the industry I wanted to work in, which was truly a blessing. With that, I was able to make some connections that led me to work with the famous Savannah Bananas. I do logistics, merchandise sales, and backstock for them. Absolutely phenomenal. If you really want to go into the whole service learning with Sage, they create a fans first environment right there. They want every fan to be heard. And, every fan is leaving Banana Land with that, exposure of, man, I'm coming back here. And it's affordable. If you look at, people like the Yankees, the Red Sox, switch sports, you got the Giants, you got the Rangers, you're spending hundreds of dollars on tickets. With the Bananas, you can spend $80, get a VIP experience, and sit behind home plate. I mean, you really can't go wrong there. They make it really affordable. Now it's really hard to get tickets because everyone's banging on the door. You have millions of people trying to get the tickets. But it is just such an environment that is just so friendly, so welcoming, even as a worker. And then as I just spoke about, I'm still with the Firebirds. I volunteered with Spindles United, and then the School of Management and a couple of my connections over at Siena College helped me out this past spring. I was able to volunteer with NCAA Division I ice hockey. I volunteered right here at the MVP Arena for the regional round. I was able to work with Penn State, the University of Michigan, Bentley, and Minnesota Duluth, work with their coaching staff, their team, and their media departments, kind of coordinating them around. If that was getting the marching band all set up or just making sure that their team had all their credentials, or if the media room was all set up for people coming in from ESPN, these schools, or professional scouts from NHL teams. It was just a wonderful experience once again. Very friendly, very welcoming. And then, as I just mentioned, I had a lot of my mentors from the School of Management, my friends and family, push me to really apply for Major League Baseball. I was able to land that. I actually just got back yesterday morning at 3:30 from Philadelphia. I was able to work All-Star Weekend with Major League Baseball. The main thing I really took away was they're saying, I latched onto it immediately at orientation last week. They're saying is we the people for the people. We the people, as in the workers, the staff. We put on a great show. We provide the customer, with everything. If that is the right answer or solving their problem, we the people provide everything for the people, because without the people, we the people have nothing. So that really stuck with me very hard. Just being able to work in sports, you always want that customer, experience, and you always want them to come back. So no matter if that is making a fan happy, solving a question, or even just swinging by and shaking a couple hands, that could make someone's day, and that could get their retention. Maybe now they come back in a week, or they walk away from that experience going, man, that person just made my day. Or, you know what, I'm going to come back next year. Or, hey, I'm going to come back tomorrow. So that really stuck with me. But with that, I was able to work with a bunch of children and many different attractions in the Capital One All-Star Village. If this was the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, if this was the T-Mobile VR Home Run Derby, that was pretty cool. Got a lot of kids into this batting cage, put on the VR goggles and a bat. It was all hooked up to a computer, and you're watching. I had people as young as 3, 4 years old hitting, a virtual baseball 500 feet, and these kids were loving it. So being able to, see them smile, hear them laugh, and just knowing they're having a positive time, you never know what's going on in someone's life. That kid could be going through so much, and being able to see them have that positive experience and you're providing that, that's all that matters at the end of the day. I was also working with the Zillow autograph stage. And you see these people, they don't have reservations, they wait in line for hours, and they finally get up and they seem a little drained. Just bring the life to them, spark that conversation, ask them how their day is, ask them who their favorite team is. So once again, phenomenal. And then actually in 2 weeks from now, I will be in Massachusetts working with Cosmic Baseball. If you're unfamiliar with them, basically what they do, they bring in this huge light show into minor league and Major League Baseball stadiums. Basically, turn off the lights and it's baseball played in the dark. It's all glow in the dark, absolutely phenomenal. So that is basically what Sage has done for me, how it has shaped and helped me, and basically, still, using my connections, being able to speak on panels like this, and just always, using the people that I have always used to continue to grow professionally. And yeah, that's really all I got.
Beautiful. Anthony, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So Anthony, too, towards the end of his academic career, was already being offered full-time employment and supervising interns, where he had been an intern. So yes, Anthony, you give a lot of credit to Russell Sage, and we appreciate that. But you have shaped all of this. You've been able to take advantage of opportunities, and you've networked, and it's really incredible to see how much you have accomplished already in your career. And it's so cool to see how, I knew Anthony through his RSC 301 experience. So I've just heard about the other fun opportunities and encouraged him to share. But working with underserved youth and the Cohoes, City of Cohoes and Spindles United Soccer Club, and how you've talked about kind of the skills that you and the kiddos have developed through that, and how you have this sense of compassion and joy and energy in everything you do. And I think that's the Sage spirit as well.
Yeah, just try and tell everyone I'm just a big baby who has fun. I throw big parties for people and make sure they have the time of their life. That's what I love to do.
Awesome. So cool. So cool. Thank you to all three of you. Very different, but equally dynamic types of experiences, and we're so grateful for everything you shared. Unless Jen coaches us otherwise, I think we can use some time for questions and conversation.
Yes, absolutely. So if anyone has questions, feel free. You can raise your hand. We can unmute you so that you can share. You can drop it in the Q&A. You can drop it in the chat. I'm sure there's some questions, so let's hear them.
Yeah. Please, questions, comments. You can blow up the chat or unmute.
I can ask a question in the meantime while people are typing, because I'm sure they
Great.
are. How did this, for all three of you, shape your idea about what you wanted your career to be? I think we saw that a little bit in what Anthony shared in terms of like, I can see the gravitational pull of making people feel comfortable and bringing joy to their lives. So how did it make you think about what a job is, what a career is differently?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I could answer that one first. I feel like throughout my time, what kind of shaped me to what a true career and job looks like. I mean, I'm sitting at my job right now in my office. Kind of if you were to go back 2 years from now, even. So that was my second year at Sage. Technically, it was my sophomore/junior year. When learning, just even in the lower level, the RSC 201 classes with the School of Management and other professors and mentors on campus. I feel like what really shaped me to know what my career was just being able to be who I am, being able to communicate just professionally, network, and always reach out, always be, always ask questions. The wrong answer is no answer. So I was able to take those risks and never walk away. And the one thing in sports for me, you have to know how to just be denied. You have to be able to go out, look someone in the eye, and they're going to tell you no. That is something you really have to be okay with. Now, I've had people say no. I've had a lot of people say yeses. So I'm very grateful for that, but also, I feel like I shaped not only a resume, but just myself to put myself in a positive direction to be able to get those yeses. So I feel like that's really how I shaped myself into, what I am today.
It's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
I agree with Anthony. You're going to be told no a number of times, but keep doing things, keep being involved. I feel like for me, the reason that service has been so impactful is because I want to go into a service-oriented career. I want to be a teacher, and it's never been a doubt of if I want to be a teacher. It's just understanding that not all children come from the same background. So being able to work with students that come from different experiences than I've had in my life, I think has been huge, because now when I do go into a classroom, and I've seen this when I have, classroom observation and field work, I have more experience because I've worked with different students that come from different places.
Absolutely.
I guess I'll piggyback off of it. I think that a huge part of it was just taking up the opportunities that will have been afforded to us. I think all three of us can agree on that. There is a beauty in not always saying yes to things, but there is also very much a beauty in saying yes to things. And if I had not said yes to a lot of the opportunities that Allie and Sage had afforded me, I wouldn't be where I am, and I don't think I'd be who I am. I think these experiences have shaped me into the woman that I am today. And I think with service, at least in my experience, a huge part of it was like, yes, there are issues that impact certain people, but it is very different to see it firsthand unfolding in front of you and realizing like that's not right. And I want to do something about it so that other people who come after them don't have to go through those same experiences. And I think that was a huge part in shaping ultimately where I wanted to go into my career and to the populations that I want to serve.
Beautiful. I love that. Sage students are agents of change. We take action. Be the change. It's awesome. Wonderful.
I am not seeing any questions. You guys were so thorough in your presentation. There's not a single question in the bunch. So I will wrap up by thanking Allie for, first of all, the work that she does at the college for all these students. Like, you are seeing a sample of the many who are influenced by service learning at Russell Sage. It's a critical part of what we do. It's what sets us apart. It's what transforms our students and puts them into the world to do incredible work and change communities, no matter what field they're choosing. So we're really proud of her and the work that she's brought to Sage. We're really fortunate to have her. Look at all the nods from these students. And I just want to say thank you to our students, our alumni on this call. We're very proud of you and the work that you're doing in the community. We are moved. I was telling Allie when I was off camera that I was sobbing listening to you guys talk about Be No Do and how you've internalized this founding value that was created in 1916, still alive today and still makes Sage very different. So thank you so much for all you have done and all you will do, students and graduates. And thank you for all of you who are on the call and took the time to learn about this or will watch it later on YouTube. We really appreciate you. Be sure to sign up for the next Sage, Proudly Sage webinar, which is going to focus on our Aphasia Center and our speech and language program at Russell Sage, which came to us from the College of St. Rose and has an incredible history. And they're changing lives every day and truly having miracles happen every day in their center. So one to not be missed, everyone. Make sure you sign up. Thank you again, everyone. And I hope that you all take care and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.